I just want to say something.
Oh my God. Welcome to the cold open, GP.
I have something to say, which I know is rare. I rarely speak my mind.
What's up, girl?
Thank you, everyone, for your concern. I have an air conditioner. People are very concerned that I don't have one. I have one. It's not great. But when I say there's no air conditioner, I mean I can't have it on while we record.
That's true. We're doing it for you guys.
Right.
You guys, we've been suffering for you for years. You know this by now.
I now have a cold compress that I'm going to be using for the foreseeable. That's it. I just want to clear the air.
Well, do you know what I would like to clear the air about?
What? I wonder what it could be.
Jillian Pensavalle.
Patrick Hines. Banana. That was horrible. That was so bad. I heard it in my ear.
Those are the best ones.
I don't know what that note was. Patrick Hines. What the hell? What?
You guys, hello. Welcome to the podcast. I feel like it's the first intro I've ever done.
I feel like we haven't done this in a long time.
I know.
We just did this. We just did this.
You guys, before we get to the show, just a quick reminder, if you want more laughs, get in the Patreon. It's where we do our series, like our episode by episode stuff. So, you know, like McMillions, the resurgence of Jillian's, like, I don't know.
Happiness.
Tiger King, Don't Have with Cats, Lorena. What else, girl?
The Staircase, Making a Murderer, The Jinx,
Yeah.
OJ, Menendez Brothers.
Lacey
There's
Peterson.
It's where all the fun, laughs, good times are.
Fun, laughs, good time.
It's also where you can get ad-free versions of these episodes. There's ringtones, after parties, quarantine check-ins, so much content. You're going to be just bored to death with us.
Yeah, hopefully. That's the goal.
Also, we launched a new podcast, you guys. We're almost 10 or 12 episodes in at this point. It's Obsessed with Disappeared. It's Ellen Marsh and me recapping episodes of IDs Disappeared. It's really funny. People like it.
As they should.
The other thing, girl, remind them about the merch.
Oh, we have, like, our merch has been kind of revamped and upgraded. We have more of it now. It's back in action, and we're donating all the money to charity.
Yeah.
How about that?
Go get a t-shirt or a mug, you guys. It's all going to LGBTQ, women's rights, charities to support Black Lives Matter, some animal charities. The more you spend, the more we're going to get. We're giving all of it. We're not keeping a dime of it.
No. Absolutely not. Like, how dare you? That's like rude. Don't insult me.
Girl, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about Trial by Media on Netflix, episode 1, Talk Show Murder.
Yeah, so this is the Jenny Jones Murders one. You guys, we are going to do each episode in a row. There's 6 episodes. The reason we wanted to do this is because we really are having fun focusing on like the topical cases, the ones that you guys like know about. And Trial by Media did a lot of those. So we're just going to go through the series. It's not serialized.
Exactly.
So it's not like you have to listen to the first one to understand the second one.
They're basically 6 different standalone documentaries.
That's exactly right. And so episode 2 is available right now in ad-free on Patreon. We're only going to do it for the first 2, but I want to tell you, it's about the subway vigilante, and it's directed by my friend Sky Borgman, you guys. Sky! It's the first thing that Sky has directed since Abducted in Plain Sight. If you loved Abducted in Plain Sight, go listen to episode 2 of this and then watch her episode. It's genius. It's brilliant.
She's such a secret keeper because when we were drinking in New Orleans, she didn't mention anything about
I
this.
know.
Thanks a lot, Sky.
She's got an episode of Unsolved Mysteries that she's doing as well, and she's got, I can't say much more, but she's literally working on like 5 projects right now. Like, she is in demand. Anyway, that episode is available right now, ad-free on the Patreon. Girl, are you ready to talk about some gay Jenny Jones shit?
I mean, yeah. Is there any other kind?
Girl, I'll get us started this week just because the first like 3 minutes of this is just like little clips of the trashiest 90s talk show moments.
I have something to tell you. I've been having an affair for the past 5 months.
I get sick and tired of seeing Uncle Tom here, sucking up, trying to be a wife. Go ahead,
Are you in fact sleeping with Leo? Yes, I am.
If you call her all these names, why did you even marry her?
Because I needed a place to live.
Do you want to know the big note I have above all else?
Yeah.
Ricky Lake, you're better than this, girl.
Did you watch all these? I didn't watch any of them.
Well, I watched Ricky Lake because the thing was they all wanted to be Oprah. They all started out wanting to be legit. And so Ricky Lake started out super legit. Like her first season was like super. I mean, Ricky Lake is like a gay icon. She's from like the Hairspray movie and the John Waters shit. Like Ricky Lake is, I mean, I am obsessed with her. And she started out legit with like real actual topics. And like 3 weeks in, it was like wives beating up girlfriends and wigs flying everywhere.
Yeah. The clip of her is, are you, in fact, sleeping with Leo? Ricky. Ricky. And then it's like, if you hate her, why'd you live with her? Because I needed a place to live, he says. I mean, it's just like, there was a time in the 90s where like daytime talk shows were the trashiest trash that ever trashed. It's just...
I mean, it's like, Geraldo, who we already knew was garbage, Jerry Springer, Montel Williams, Jenny Jones, Sally Jesse Raphael. It was
Maury
Povich. I always let him off the hook. I forget him. You are the father.
Yeah, I mean, come on. And it was all like gotcha stuff. And
totally.
when I guess maybe I was too young to like give a shit.
It's a little before your time. Like, our age difference is such that if I was around for it, you wouldn't have been there yet.
Yeah, and it always just seems so fake to me. Like, and I know some of it is clearly real, but it's all like, they call it ambush television, and it just seemed like people just wanted, I could get $500 for pretending that I have sex with my cousin or something. Like, a lot of it seems so staged and fake. Like, in what universe have you ever like jumped up and started punching someone in the face because they said they liked you, had a crush on your mom or something? Everyone was just at 100 all the time. I guess I'm asking the wrong person. Ms. at 100.
Right. I was like, I would have been great on these shows. But like,
totally.
It did give a lot of airtime to like the Ku Klux Klan. I remember it was always like a Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan was always a feature.
Don't give these idiots attention.
I know.
How about that kid who says about his sister, she's very much a slut?
Are you sexually active? Okay, Mom, there's your answer. You didn't ask, but I did.
She's very much a slut.
He's like 9 years old.
But he has the air of like a 57-year-old from Bensonhurst. She's very much a slut. I don't know what to tell you. I'm like, what? Why are you slut-shaming your sister on television? I don't understand.
I know. But this whole section ends with somebody saying,
former producer says the competitive talk show market could be creating a dangerous environment.
Hopefully, we've hit the bottom. I mean, how much worse can it get?
hopefully we've hit rock bottom, right? I mean, how much worse could it get?
Guess what? We come to a screeching halt. Right. It's like it goes from like music and screaming and fighting and this montage, and then we get a 911 call of this guy hysterical saying, I shot a man. I think I just killed him. I'm turning myself in.
I think I just shot a man.
Okay.
Just turning myself in.
Okay. Okay, why did you do that?
The dispatcher goes, why'd you do that? Like, she's very concerned.
I know. But she literally, I have in my notes, ma'am, it's not the time for a conversation. Can you ask him if the guy's still breathing? Isn't that the next line in the script?
But she says, and this is like, Netflix, how dare you? This is so sensationalized. Because she's like, why'd you do that? And he goes, because he took me on Jenny Jones. And immediately you're like, oh, like you're in the audience. But it's not like that. It's just bear with us. It's not like that at all.
Yeah, the one thing I want to say is the audio of that call is really bad. So I can maybe play it, but like you won't be able to understand it. But it's subtitled and it's fucking tragic. And she's asking the wrong questions. Can you ask an address? Could you ask if the guy's still breathing? Could you like maybe give this guy some indication on how to like, I don't know, help save this guy's life?
We did hear about 7 seconds of the call. So eventually she got there, I feel. We will get educated very quickly about what it's like to be a dispatcher. Mark my words. This will backfire on us.
I have the utmost respect for them. What a fucking hard job. And you know who should not have that job?
You.
Ms. Patrick Hines.
I'm looking right at you. I'm looking right. I have my finger in your face right now. Get out of here, body moving with that. I'm right here. So we just get very briefly, and of course we'll dive into the entire story. It's why we're here. But we get footage of the Jenny Jones show that of course never aired because tragedy struck.
Right.
But it's like someone has a secret crush on you.
Let's have John come out here and see who has the crush on him. Guess what? It's Scott that has the crush on you.
You lied to me.
Did you have any idea that he liked you this much?
No, I did not.
Oh my God, it's a man. A man has a crush on another man. And it's supposed to be the scandalous thing. And they manipulated the whole situation. So what happens is a few days after taping, Johnathan Schmitz, who we just heard on the 911 call, shows up at Scott Amadure's mobile home. Scott is the guy who secretly had a crush on Johnathan.
Yeah.
And Johnathan shoots Scott twice in the chest, killing him.
Yeah. So my next line, girl, it says, Jillian, there's a cat here. You okay, girl?
Look. It's not the cat.
Right.
This is, how do I say this? It's the meowing not done by the cat. Because someone's meowing. I said, His name is Frank Amadure. He's Scott, the victim's brother. And I have in my notes, Frank is meowing to a cat. I'm sorry, but he is. He's meowing to his cat. And this guy, his brother is a victim of murder. He's been through a lot. But we report what happens in the documentary. And what's happening right now is that Frank is meowing at the cat, and the cat is meowing back. If I were to sit here and told you I haven't had a heart-to-heart with Pete and or Alfie, I'd be lying to you. I understand. But I speak English to Pete, and Pete understands me. So it's different.
I mean, it's slightly different.
So we're going through family photos with Frank, and Frank is saying...
Scott always wanted to be on TV in the limelight. This is him with a girl that played on One Day at a Time. I think her name is Julie Cooper.
Sweetheart, that's Mackenzie Phillips.
I had no idea who that was.
Her story is tragic and horrible, but for a time, like Mackenzie Phillips, like she was but it's so funny that she said that. He's like, I think her name was Julie Cooper. That's the character's name on One Day at a Time.
And in the photo, he's wearing the exact same outfit he wore on Jenny Jones. That the
really?
jeans and the white shirt and the black vest. To which I wrote, girl, from one gay to another, who with no fashion sense, I can tell you, I understand what it's like to have one outfit that works and you wear it all the time.
Because you know you're going to be on camera or get your picture taken. Absolutely. Of course. That's not a gay thing.
Okay, wow.
Okay, the gays can have it. You guys can have it. I'm not going to take it away from you.
So we learn that Scott, the victim, and John, the murderer, met through this mutual friend, Donna Riley.
Donna lived in an apartment complex where Johnathan lived and where Scott Amadure's brother lived. Scott came over one day to see his brother, and Johnathan was fixing Donna Riley's car, her brakes at the time, out in the parking lot of this building.
They bond over the fact that they're both like dumb muscleheads who like to fix things.
I couldn't have said it better, to be perfectly honest with you.
And so they all become friends. And so we see, and I remember these, like we see this like ad, but it's really like when the Jenny Jones show would be going into commercial and they'd be like looking for guests for their new shows.
Do you have a secret crush you'd like to reveal to a same-sex friend? Call 312-836-9455.
If you weren't around and you don't know this scene, it's like they did this solely to cause drama and embarrass the person. The whole goal was to get the audience to stand up and erupt, and ideally have at least two people on the stage in a fist fight while the audience was cheering it on. Here's a perfect example. They would call someone and say, remember that one night stand you had? We want to reunite you guys and see if there was some spark there or see something. But when you show up thinking, maybe there's something here with this person I had a one night stand with.
2 months after the night we slept together, I found out I was pregnant.
Do you see a resemblance?
Bada bing, bada boom, there's a toddler there. And what really happened is that she got pregnant and now you have a baby. It's the worst Joan Calamezzo gotcha, because someone is always there under false pretenses. And that's the point. The point is to embarrass you and cause a lot of trauma.
The thing I want to say about 1995 when this happens is that it was just on the brink of the world starting to like understand and accept gays into like quasi mainstream. So like Will and Grace came around at this time. Ellen DeGeneres comes out at this time. Melissa Etheridge was big at this time. Everybody thought Rosie O'Donnell was gay, and she was, but she was big. She had her talk show at this time. So like the gay thing was starting to like move its way into mainstream media. So these shows would invite gay people on them sometimes, and like you were brave to go.
But they were using them as props.
Yeah, I agree that that's true, but I think that like that's one of the reasons why I love Scott, because Scott gets on the show. It's 1995, not a super safe time to be out loud and proud gay, and he's talking about like gay shit on national TV, and he's not ashamed or embarrassed, and it's fucking awesome, you know?
Yeah.
So like that's where the world was at that time, and that's kind of important context that isn't really given here. And so Scott contacts the show thinking that like this is gonna be fun. It's a fun, funny thing. This guy's kind of cute. Maybe there's something here. And like you were saying, the show calls John, and they're like, hey.
They said, you've been identified by someone who has a secret crush on you. It could be a man, it could be a woman, and he would have to come on the show to find out who the individual was.
Someone's got a crush on you. It might be a man, it might be a woman. You got to come on the show to find out. And so he agrees to do it.
And we have a lot of lawyers here. We have Jonathan's defense lawyer. We have the Jenny Jones defense. We have Warner Brothers media lawyer. There's a lot of lawyers here because we get like a lot of almost all of it takes place in the courtroom. It's either on the Jenny Jones show or footage of the trial. It's wild.
And so John's lawyer, I didn't even write his fucking name down. I was so mad at this guy, and he's with us throughout. John's defense lawyer is such garbage, and he's saying
Jonathan Schmitz had a very gentle soul. I mean, he was a real nice, sweet, decent guy who was manipulated, used, pushed around, tormented, and triggered into doing something terrible.
This is called the gay panic defense. And this is a tactic that was put into play in the 60s and 70s and 80s when straight men would murder gay people. And the whole defense of it was they didn't know this person was gay and they found out and that triggered something in them and they killed them. And so therefore it shouldn't be first degree murder. It should be third degree or manslaughter. Like he's literally spouting the gay panic defense. And this is just the beginning of him being total fucking garbage. We're going to get into what happened. Right now we're getting a lot of the after the fact, but if everyone could shut the fuck up is what I have in my notes.
Okay.
Amy Whelan is here, and she is, the second I saw her, I sat up a little bit straighter.
I knew you would. I knew you'd be in love with her. I knew it from the moment I saw her.
Amy Whelan is this lesbian lawyer. She's fucking awesome, and she's here to put everything to bed. She's not taking shit from anybody.
And she's also the only, I believe, LGBTQ person, because she works for the National Center of Lesbian Rights.
Yeah.
So, like, everyone shut up and listen to Amy. She knows what she's talking about.
Yeah, and because the whole question that was posed right before she gets here is, like, who's responsible for this? Is it the person who, like, quote, embarrassed somebody on TV? Are they responsible for their own murder? To Amy, this is all ridiculous.
In everyday life, a lot of people will be embarrassed, but the law is intended to protect people from criminal acts, not to give people a pass for murdering somebody because they have some characteristic that you don't like about them.
Look, she's amazing, and she's going to be with us throughout, and she's got a lot of really fucking smart things to say.
Well, here's something I have to say. Why am I looking at OJ putting on that goddamn glove again?
Every
Why? Here he is with that smug fucking look on his face, putting on that goddamn glove. I never need to see it again. What is happening? Yeah. But here's why it's happening. They're trying to make the point that somewhere in the 90s, right around 1995, 1994 with OJ, TV people realized that real life is the best drama around. The OJ trial, the Clinton sex scandal, like private things were coming out in the news as entertainment. Court TV started, like this is where we are now.
And they're saying that like this kind of culture gave rise to the trashy daytime talk shows.
In the 1990s, Hollywood figured out that the best soap opera is real life. Previously, private things were coming out in the news as well as in entertainment. Every television show deals with ratings, and if you don't compete well, you're not going to be there.
And so we get this one moment where there's these male strippers, and it made me think of the story that I told the other day where when I was in middle school, I was watching Maury Povich or Donahue or something, and I thought I was home by myself, and this was like, I was like 12 or something. It was way before I was out, but I was definitely interested in these male strippers, and I'm like lying on the couch just watching it like transfixed. I was like, oh my God. And then my sister walked in the front door, and I thought I was home alone, and I just like closed my eyes and pretended to be asleep, and my sister walks into the living room and she goes, oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
And you were like, what?
So groggy. I'm just waking up from a dream.
Where am I? Oh, is that you, mother?
I know.
Like, what?
The idea that I ever had to actually officially come out of the closet is kind of a joke.
It's laughable, girl. I wasn't going to say it. Thank you for doing it. Yeah. You were like 12 when I wasn't out yet. I'm like, girl, please. Please.
Out to who, girl? So this is where somebody tells us that, like, the whole thing with Jenny Jones was that she started out wanting to be Oprah. And we see these ridiculous videos from her, like, early shows where she's, like, making potpourri and shit.
This is going to be a good show today, because today we're going to talk about women and stress.
Jenny Jones started out wanting to be Oprah Winfrey.
Has anybody made this at home? Have you done potpourris? You want color, you want texture, you want smell.
But she quickly discovered that her show was more popular as Jerry Springer.
They won't watch male strippers 5 days a week.
You watch them from time to time.
They certainly will, and you better haul them out once in a while if you want to survive in the daytime arena.
And And so, like, Phil Donahue is here to say, you need those male strippers every once in a while. Here's the thing. Like, if you want to survive in the daytime arena, you can't be Oprah, Jenny. You have Jerry Springer being Jerry Springer never tried to be Oprah. Jerry Springer came right out the gate at 100 zillion miles per hour, not unlike yourself, being exactly who he was.
I choose to take that as a compliment, girl. I choose to take that as a compliment.
You should. What you didn't say, but what he's saying is, I'm going to make, goddammit, the trashiest show there is.
Totally.
And that's what I'm going to do. And a lot of these people were like, I'll try to be Oprah. And then Phil Donahue says, you got to get some strippers. Someone's got to get punched in the face sometime.
Right.
There's got to be a sex scandal somewhere, Jenny, girl. What are you trying to do? And also, there is an Oprah.
Exactly.
Oprah already exists. Don't try to do Oprah. Oprah has Oprah. Oprah's fine. Don't worry about Oprah.
So now we're seeing more of the episode. So the episode was taped on March 6th, 1995.
And of course, they never aired this because the murder happens days after. So they just never aired it.
Yeah. And so we see the actual show.
Yeah.
Scott and Donna are seated on the stage. Scott is wearing his one nice outfit, the white shirt with the black vest.
His on-camera outfit.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And Jenny is saying, like, girl, does this guy even know that you're gay? And Scott's like, yes, of course he does. And then she's saying, like, do you guys have any reason to believe that he might be gay?
No. Anything's possible.
You hope. Do you have any reason to think he is, Donna? I mean,
not really. He said that his family kind of questioned him on it.
You can see that, like, it's what you were saying earlier. A lot of these people went on these shows for the free trip to Chicago. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what this feels like to me. That, like, three friends go to Chicago together. Like, it doesn't seem like they're taking it that seriously.
And Donna says something here that we'll get back to. But Jenny says, do you think Jonathan's gay? And Donna says, well, I don't know. I mean, I do know that his family has questioned him on it.
Oh, my God. Are we ever going to get back to that?
Which is like, it's a big deal. Like,
yeah. And so this is the part where Scott is just being, like, truly authentically himself. And Jenny is saying to him, like, what do you like about John? And, like, Scott in 1995 on TV is just describing that he thinks he's hot.
He's got a cute little hard body. One you just want to pick up and put in your curio cabinet, dust him off once in a while.
You want to physically pick him up?
Oh, he's just a tiny little cute thing. He's gorgeous.
And, like, the audience is going bananas, and Scott is, like, not ashamed. He loves it. And I just have in my notes, I'm like, this is truly fucking brave, you guys. Like, this is really brave. And so they bring John out.
Get the headphones off of John, and let's have John come out here and see who has the crush on him. Here's John.
And, like, John, he kind of looks confused, but he kind of doesn't. And he comes over, and he gives Donna, like, this kiss on the cheek. And then he goes to shake hands with Scott, but Scott kind of awkwardly, like, leans in for the hug.
It's very awkward. There's, like, a montage of a couple of people saying, like, it was an awkward embrace. It was an awkward embrace. Yes, it was quite an awkward embrace. Like, that's what it's known as now.
Yeah. And then they get John to sit down, and Jenny's like,
did you think Donna had the crush on you?
Did I? No, we're good friends.
Well, guess what? It's Scott that has the crush on you.
You lied to me.
John laughs. For me, John's reaction to all of this is perfectly fine, and I'm going to get more into that in a second. But they replay this moment from before John came out where, like, Scott is explaining, like, a sexual fantasy.
Before we talk, take a look at, it'll show a little playback of what Scott said about you, John. Take a look at that monitor
right here. I got a pretty big hammock in my yard, and I thought about tying him up to my hammock.
And?
Well, it entails, like, whipped cream and champagne, stuff like that.
It's silly, and it's very brave of Scott to be saying these things.
Yeah, but Jenny's not doing it for that.
No. I totally agree.
And so it's kind of, it's not, like, cute or funny to make someone uncomfortable for the sake of it. And that's what Jenny is using Scott and his gay fantasy, which is like, have the fantasy, that's fine.
Yeah,
but, like,
yeah.
she's doing it to hopefully make Johnathan erupt. And that just, like, what?
So this is my whole thing, right? Because now we got all these talking heads analyzing John's reaction, right? And they're going over the awkward hug, and he's smiling too much. For me, I think that John and Scott and Donna are all very close.
Yeah.
I think that, like, John isn't bothered by this. I don't think. Like, I was saying that, like, we can't look at his reaction from a 2020 lens, because I think the way that John reacts is appropriate for 2020. Where you're like, oh, this is my gay friend and he has a crush on me and this is kind of awkward and embarrassing. That's his reaction. The normal 1995 reaction would be throwing the chair, calling him the anti-gay F word,
right,
punching him in the face. This guy, John, isn't doing any of that. He's kind of going along for the ride. And I get that he might be putting on, like, a face and realizing that, like, it's an awkward moment, but he's laughing, and I kind of appreciate appreciated the way that he was handling it.
I have the same thing in my notes. I say, right now, he seems to be kind of taking it all in stride. He's kind of like, oh, he laughs. You guys lied to me. Oh, man. And it's kind of very like, aw, shucksy. And I'm writing all these notes, and then all the talking heads came on and say almost verbatim exactly what I wrote. Even our girlfriend Amy is like,
I actually thought Johnathan came out and was very good-natured.
He seemed pretty okay. Is it me? Like, he seemed fine.
I know, and I want to put it again in context and say that, like, this is what I would expect from somebody in 2020 that this happened to. 1995, the way that John is acting is very ahead of its time. It's very accepting and loving. Like, it's very like, these are my friends and this is ridiculous, but I'm not bothered by it. I'm not really embarrassed about it. And I wonder if this is why Jenny is needling them, because I don't think it's going the way that Jenny thought it was going to go.
I was just going to say that same thing. She's not getting the reaction she wants on stage. Everyone's like, screaming and cheering in the audience. But so she keeps asking these questions like,
did you have any idea that he liked you this much?
No, I did not.
Can you tell us what your status is? Are you involved with anybody or?
No, but I am definitely heterosexual, I guess you could say.
Did you know? Are you like uncomfortable? Whatever. And she does something that like I really want to zoom in on for a second. She does this thing and she asks a question to Scott, asking him if he's disappointed that Jonathan's not gay. Again, needling them.
I know exactly what you're gonna say.
And instead of letting him answer, she talks right over him and says to Jonathan,
"Are you very disappointed?"
No, actually, no.
The thing
it's a nice compliment. It's a nice compliment. If nothing else, it's a nice compliment to pay somebody. We'll take a break.
It's a compliment, right? It's a nice compliment. It's nice. It's a compliment. It's a compliment. So she asks a question, doesn't let the person answer it, and then switches gears and just keeps telling Jonathan what a fucking compliment it is. And I resent all of it. I hate it.
Same. And if you notice, John tries to say something, and this is what really stuck with me. John tries to, he actually has something to say there, and she doesn't let him. And I think that would have been whatever he might have said could have ended the whole thing. Like, it might not have gone any farther. Like, whatever he was about to say felt important to me. And the fact that she didn't let him do it, I think is kind of a big deal. And so we learn that, like, after the show, everything seemed fine. They were all hanging out together. We get a shot of Donna on the stand during the trial, and she's being asked,
did the defendant voice any displeasure about being on the show?
No.
Did he voice any anger towards Scott Amadure?
No.
And she says, like, John wasn't mad. Like, he wasn't upset about what happened. They all go back to wherever they came from together. And then we get this story that 3 days after the taping, Scott leaves a sexual sort of provocative note on John's door or something with a flashing, like, parking light that they found in the parking lot of the airport when they got back.
It's something about a tool and turning it on, and it's supposed to be provocative, I guess.
And we hear that this is the moment where John decides he has to kill Scott. I'm calling bullshit on that.
I believe the note said something to the effect of, you have the tool to turn this off.
He just indicated that he became angry, and at that point he indicated he just made a decision to kill Amadure.
So Johnathan went to the bank.
He then went and purchased ammunition. He then went and bought a gun.
According to the documentary, Johnathan gets in his car, goes to the bank, gets cash, and then buys a shotgun and a bunch of ammunition because of this note after they were just partying for 2 days straight.
Yeah, and then he buys a gun, buys the ammunition.
And then he drove to Scott's mobile home in Orion Township, knocked on the door. There was some sort of discussion.
At that point, he told Scott that he had to go out and shut his car off. He exited the residence and retrieved the shotgun.
We learn that there's a roommate home, and then John tells Scott he's got to go to the car to turn the car off, comes back with a gun, uses it to open the door, and then we see the roommate on the stand, and he's saying the gun went off, there was a shot, and that's it. Scott dies on the floor, and it cuts to Scott's brother, Frank. And Frank is saying that, like,
when he described what happened, the smoke coming from his body and the wheezing and things, it had to be an awful thing for him to be there. And then wait for the ambulance and all that.
hearing the roommate describe the smoke coming out of Scott's body and hearing the wheezing, like how awful it must have been for the roommate in that moment.
Right. And then on top of that, it just becomes a media circus. And
Right.
Frank, Scott's brother, says like that's when everything became unreal because this was 3 days after the taping. And we know that it hasn't aired yet because some neighbor, some townsperson is just like,
I don't know what happens. I have no idea. I'm just in shock.
It had to do with the Jenny Jones taping. I don't think they've showed it yet because we were waiting to see it ourselves.
you know, we've been waiting for that episode. Is it out? Oh, it's not. Why? Oh, really?
I know.
So now we get a little bit of Jonathan's mental health and his personal history.
Yes.
And this is all from testimony on the stand.
Yeah, and we learned that like
He was bipolar.
He had a syndrome of affective disorder, and he has depression reoccurring. He said he has made attempts of suicide.
Jonathan had taken a whole bottle of my heart medicine.
This was a young man who had a lot of baggage.
John, the murderer, was bipolar and depressed, and he had attempted suicide in his life. We learn about his fucking garbage father.
I hate his father so much.
This insane story where the dad says he found out that John was skipping school.
I found out that John had been skipping class, and I punished him. I took off my belt, and I pulled his hair and strapped him on the butt as I took him in the class.
Is this in front of the class?
Yes.
He drags him into the room by his hair and does this in front of the class. And this is like, we're just getting started with this piece of shit.
I know.
We're just getting started.
I know. Also, where's the fucking teacher that allows this to happen? What the fuck?
Jonathan's father is a bully and homophobic and garbage. And he is one of those people who just makes you think that he has some kind of authority. I could see it now. He probably was threatening the teacher and he probably made it so that this just sort of happened to everyone and it traumatized everyone in the room, mostly his son Jonathan.
And so this is where the lawyer is saying like...
And then after the show, John was completely humiliated and revealed his humiliation, not in so many words, but only an idiot wouldn't see how humiliated he was.
You guys, it cuts to my girlfriend Amy Wheeland, who's just staring. It's like only an idiot wouldn't see how humiliated he was. Boom, Amy Wheeland's face.
No, it shouldn't be humiliating. Imagine if every time a woman is hit on in a bar, she can just fly into a rage and kill that person.
The amount of times Amy has had to repeat herself in her life, just imagine how many dumb, idiot, straight people she's had to educate where it's just common sense.
Yes.
And she does it again. And Amy, you're doing the goddess's work here. Let me tell you here. She's looking down on you. Very, very happy. So Amy says, I don't care if he's humiliated. How about this? I'll do you one better. How about every time a woman is ever made to feel humiliated or uncomfortable by a man, she just went out and killed him. I'm like, now, Amy, hold on a second.
I want to move to that island, girl. We need to move to that island.
Amy's Law. Oh my God. That's a show I'd watch.
We got Beth Malone to play Amy?
Yeah. Or just a reality show, whatever you got. I don't care. I'll take it any which way I can get it at this point.
Right. So, this section ends with John being found guilty of the, quote, lesser offense of second-degree murder. And fucking our girlfriend Larry King is back. And Larry King, of course, is interviewing one of the jurors. And Larry asked her, did you kind of like John? Do you think he was a good kid?
Did you like Jonathan?
Absolutely. I told my husband right after the trial started that I wouldn't even mind having a son like that. I think he's a wonderful person, and it's just it's an unhappy set of circumstances.
They're all saying, were it not for this creepy gay guy hitting on him, none of this would have happened. They are all taking the murderer's side. This guy took a shotgun and killed this man in his own home.
She goes, I think he's a wonderful person. I was confused, Joyce O'Brien, you confused me because and also how much could you really get to know someone in a murder trial? You know what I mean? It's not like it's not like you really get to
exactly.
You're not having good conversations with him. He probably wasn't allowed to say a goddamn word because his garbage lawyer said, "You shut up, you zip your lip," which is good advice.
Right.
However, he's a wonderful person. I wish I had 5 just like him. What are you talking about, Joyce?
Yeah, and then Frank the brother is saying to us now.
I've even talked to his dad, and we were all there together, And somehow we all kind of felt like we all got screwed. We shouldn't even be here.
we all felt like we lost there. And they do this whole round robin where they even get Frank to say that John was a victim too. And, you know, it's that whole thing where they're trying to blame the Jenny Jones show for creating the situation. And this part felt really gross to me because they had to all be on the same team because there's going to be a civil suit. And so rather than like Frank being able to just say like, you know what, you shouldn't have killed my brother. You're responsible for your own actions. He's now saying, no, the murderer of my gay brother, he was a victim too. And it was all of this was created by the Jenny Jones show.
Right. So now Johnathan is sentenced to 25 years. Okay, bye Johnathan for now. Now we're in the middle of the civil suit where they're suing the Jenny Jones show and Warner Brothers for $50 million. And Frank, Scott's brother, decides to hire Jeffrey Feiger.
Only one has stood up and taken on big business and the government. And only one is one of the most famous trial lawyers in America. There is only one. Jeffrey Feiger.
You know me, girl. Is there anything that I like about this guy?
No!
From the fake tan to talking in the third person to just being trashy. And I'm just like he is one of those people where like at first I was like, where's this show on Fox News? Like right after Jeanine Pirro. And then I'm like, no. He does like the Alex Jones route where he's just like on the internet because Fox News is like too liberal for him. And I'm like, girl, like I do not like Jeffrey Feiger. I'm saying it.
We see him at home, and of course he lives in a fucking mansion, and he's so rich, and he takes all the high-profile cases, but his whole house is decorated in like the tackiest, trashiest art, where it's like him as a warrior, him as a king,
as
him
Jesus.
as Jesus.
And he also just looks like the kind of stand-up comic I can't stand because he has
Totally.
like this massive headshot and he has this zany look on his face, but he has caution tape around his mouth. Like, just watch what he's gonna say. He's a real firecracker. Like,
right. It's like he's like the Andrew Dice Clay of like fucking lawyers.
That's it. And fuck you. Fuck him. Like, whatever. So,
but wait, we also have that one moment where we see him actually directing the shot. He's sitting for his interview. Guys, he's an interview subject, and he's like in the middle of answering a question. He stops the scene to like shout at the Netflix crew to quiet the people outside.
They gotta stop. Who's talking outside? You got to get them away.
Who's talking out there? They gotta stop. Who's talking? Zip it. Jeffrey, enough.
It's unbelievable.
He thinks, I think you should love yourself. Everyone, you should love yourself. Love you. That's,
yes.
You know, love yourself. He takes it to a point. It's a little much because he is constantly, he's like,
my art is the art of telling stories.
Jeffrey Feiger is a showboat.
Jenny Jones show better be ready for this.
He was a drama major in college.
In the courtroom, who's gonna stand up for you?
He likes his stardom here in Metro Detroit. You see billboards and ads on television.
my art is the art of telling stories. And then it's like, oh, of course you were a drama major in college. He's making all these shitty commercials. He's an ass.
Well, but then we see him in the courtroom. He gives his opening statement, and we hear part of it. We learn that it goes on for 2.5 hours, and he spends 5 minutes like describing the entrance to the cemetery where Scott was laid to rest.
If any of you should be able at any particular time, on any particular day, to observe the entrance into the Ottawa Cemetery.
Remember when Michael Scott in The Office starts saying, like, I live by this. Don't for any reason, for anything whatsoever, don't for any reason. And then it cuts to him being like, sometimes I start a sentence and I just don't know where it's going. This opening statement was 2.5 hours of that because he goes, it could be a cloudy day or a windy day or a sunny day or a snowy day. It could be a weekend. It could be a weekday. It could be 6 in the morning. It could be 6 at night. And I'm like, what are you talking? Can you imagine 2.5 hours of this? I mean, my God.
No, because you know the courtrooms are all hot. Everyone's thirsty.
Same, girl. I'm living it.
I know.
I know.
So we start to see the actual trial, and they get all of the producers of the Jenny Jones show, like, in the stand. And I gotta tell you, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sure you work really hard. I'm sure you just wanted to work in TV, but you're all kind of garbage, and you're all kind of culpable, and you're all fucking lying through your teeth.
Well, that's the thing, right? So he has these people, and, like, he's definitely trying to gotcha them. And sometimes he does, and sometimes he's absolutely right. And we'll get there in a minute when Jenny Jones herself takes a step. But he just keeps trying to say, like, so your job is to manipulate people, right? Because if it's a secret crush and you're telling him it could be a woman, knowing full well it's not going to be a woman, and you're doing this to, like, embarrass him or get a reaction. And one of them was like...
We told all the guests on that show not to say who it was.
So you told him to lie to Johnathan Schmitz, didn't you?
They called about a secret crush show.
So
it's a secret.
It's called Secret Crush. It was supposed to be a secret. What do you want? And I'm like, but you can't sit there and say, like, you did everything with all the integrity in the world, and you can't understand. I don't know. Look, they chose to have a fist fight. It wasn't our fault that we surprised a guy who had a one-night stand and now he has a 2-year-old baby.
Right.
You know, like that's completely out of our hands. Like, all of this just happens to the Jenny Jones producers. So we're getting all this testimony from people on the stand, and we have, like, you know, Donna the friend, and then Scott's friends and Jonathan's friends, and we're getting this story about how, like, remember how they all flew back together after the taping?
Yeah.
And they went to a bar and they started partying. And so, like, everyone says they partied for, like, into the night, into the next day. They went to a bar, they went back to Donna's house. That, like, no one argues that. But we hear from some people that, like, once they get back to Donna's and the party keeps going, that Scott and John were slow dancing and then hooked up.
He told me that he and John had slow danced and kissed.
Excuse me. How does he come here now for the first time without disclosing?
He told me that they had slept together and he wanted me to meet him.
Did it happen?
No, it didn't happen.
Some people say it absolutely happened. Some people say it definitely didn't happen.
Let me tell you, until I saw this episode, I thought that was the story. I thought the story was they went on the show, he said he had a crush, they went back home, and they totally hooked up, and then the next day, this guy killed him. That was the story I always knew to be true, and I don't think it was. Donna, the one who would know better than anybody, the one who was there, says that never happened.
Right. But now we're getting into, remember Jonathan's dad who we hate?
Okay, I've got so much to say about this part.
We're here now.
Yeah, Jonathan's dad is testifying on the stand, and we find out that Jonathan called his dad from the bar. So they fly home together, they go to this bar, they're getting hammered. Jonathan called his dad from the bar and said, like...
He called me in Brewski's bar. He said, that thing didn't work out very well in Chicago for me, Dad. He said it was a guy.
Through back and forth with the lawyer, we find out that the dad totally fucking melts down when he finds out that the person with the secret crush was a guy. Like, he gets him to admit that he used the anti-gay F word. He threw a chair.
When he finally did call you after the show had been taped, you made it pretty clear to him in that phone conversation you were angry. And in fact, you said, gay what?
Bastards.
Sure that's all you said?
It was an expletive of that, whatever.
In fact, what you said began with an F and ended with an S, didn't it?
Yes.
And you threw a chair, didn't you?
Yes.
This guy's homophobia runs so deep that he threw a chair across a room that his son wasn't even in.
And Jonathan's dad is on the stand saying, yeah, you know, he had a lot of issues in his relationships with females, which is so annoying.
Did you ever discuss that he was very conflicted in his relationship with females?
Absolutely. Because he had lots of conflicts with lots of females. But it had to do again with girls. I want you to know that. Girls.
Yes, sir, I know.
Okay.
Not any guys.
Girls, no guys.
Not any guys.
That's right.
Absolutely not, sir. No
That's
guys.
Right.
Just females, girls, okay? Always girls. I want you to know that. I want that on the record. It was girls. It wasn't guys. And I'm like, you're homophobia, girl.
It's unbelievable. And then somebody says, and they sort of breeze right past this, but somebody says that the dad is the one who told Jonathan, the only way you're going to survive this, because remember, this episode is going to air and people are going to think you are gay, son. The only way you're going to survive this and keep your heterosexuality intact, girl, is to go kill that guy.
Explain, please, why you said that John had to kill Scott to prove he was not a homosexual. You said that the overwhelming humiliation that he would have felt that everybody thought he was a homosexual.
Right. How would you feel if somebody thought you were homosexual?
It was the dad's idea.
And this is being told to the dad on the stand, who doesn't say, I said no such thing. His only retort is, well, how would you feel if someone thought you were a homosexual?
Oh, my
God.
God.
I said, you know who thinks you're a homosexual? Me. I think you're gay, Jonathan's dad, which is fucking great.
I know. So Amy Whelan, my girlfriend, is back to tell us that, like...
When you watch the testimony by Jonathan's father, you get a glimpse into the household of the Schmitz when Johnathan was growing up. And I think that homophobia is a part of a lot of young people's childhoods still in this country. Just shows the extent of how far we have to go.
Clearly, the idea of his son being gay was like a very big deal to the dad, which I also, again, think it speaks volumes of John that he was super open to having a gay friend. You know what I mean? But also,
totally,
he lived with this sort of like, his dad would beat the shit out of him in front of all of his classmates. The gay thing was huge. Like, you be a man, like that horrible toxic masculinity that like results in shit like this.
And I can't believe we spent 10 seconds, not even, on the fact that the dad is like, yeah, I told him. Like, why isn't the dad being charged with some kind of, like, I don't understand.
And why is brother Frank, the brother of the dead gay guy, saying, you know what, he was a victim too? No, girl. We are not all on the same fucking team here.
Yeah, I know. Because they, like, I guess, Frank, for the greater good, which is like taking down Jenny Jones.
Fine. Yeah, totally. Like, live with forgiveness in your heart, Frank. I get it. But it like, don't be on the same side as them. They fucking killed your brother.
Right. So now Jeff Feiger, the sensational lawyer guy, he's not like, he's like so great, he's sensational, like he's trash, but you know what I mean? Right. Jenny Jones herself takes the stand.
Oh my God. But first, like, we get 5 minutes of this, like, leading up to Jenny Jones takes the stand. Jenny Jones, she's going to testify. And I actually remember when this happened. It was kind of a big deal.
Really?
Yeah, it was a big deal. The 90s were fucking wild, girl.
It was a wild time. What a time to be alive. Just the 90s. Time to be alive.
But she, of course, Feiger has to say to one of the commentators,
she didn't look that good when she came in. She didn't look like she'd had much sleep.
So Feiger has like a couple good moves here, but for the most part, he really shows how garbage he is because he just has to attack the way she looks because she's and it's like, just do your job. And if you really are great at your job, you don't need to pull punches like that. Like, shut up.
And not for nothing. And Jenny Jones is fucking garbage. She looks like $1 million, everybody. Jenny Jones looks great. Fuck you, Feiger. Feiger, by the way, look in the mirror, girl. Want to see somebody who looks atrocious? Look in the fucking mirror.
Orange fake tan for days. Get a grip, Feiger. That hair, stop. Well, and the thing is, like, he started it. I wasn't going to say anything about his appearance, but don't just say that. You know what I mean? Like, make the statement in the courtroom by being awesome at your job. Don't do this shit. I don't have any time, Feiger. So he's trying to turn the tables on Jenny, and he says,
it would be embarrassing to you to have somebody discuss with you here without discussing it with you in advance. Somebody's fantasy about tying you up to a hammock and licking whipped cream off of you with strawberries and champagne, that would be embarrassing, wouldn't it?
It could be exciting.
And Jenny Jones, a woman, says, it would be exciting. Jenny Jones just committed perjury. She lied on the stand. Get the fuck out of here with that. It would be exciting.
The problem is, like, and we're going to learn more about this later, Jenny Jones never apologizes. She does nothing but double down for this. But Feiger is forcing me to be on her side. Like, I'm not on her side, but he's forcing me to root for her because he's such a fucking garbage person.
And then it cuts to Jeffrey Feiger today. And he says two things here that make me crazy.
Yeah.
He says,
and she was helpless with Jeffrey Feiger, which is not a good way to be. And so I could have my way with her.
She was helpless with Jeff Feiger, and that's not a good way to be because now I can have my way with her. One, the third person. And two, don't sexualize it like that. Now I get to have my way with her. It's so gross.
I know. And then once he gets his stride, he really does start going in on her. And I'm glad. Like, I'm glad she's having a bad fucking day. I'm glad that she's on the stand. I'm glad she's taking the fall for all the other garbage TV shows. This could have happened on any one of those shows.
Yeah.
I'm just glad to see her being held accountable.
Yeah, because he keeps saying, like, yes or no, girl, you wanted to manipulate your audience. You wanted to manipulate the situation to get this audience reaction. Yes?
Right.
And she was dancing around it. She just looks really bad. And she, like, won't give him a yes or no answer. He's like, excuse me, Jenny, yes or no? And she's like,
Yeah, and she's just there to be evasive. And in the end, so remember, this is a civil trial. You don't need unanimous. You just need a majority rule. Because also civil trials never fucking hold up. But so 8 out of the 10 jurors agree with the family. They are awarded $25 million. And Frank, the brother, says, like,
we did what we came for, to teach them guys you can't do that.
But in the end, they don't get anything. The family doesn't get the $25 million because after 3 years after the civil verdict, Warner Brothers challenges the ruling in the Michigan Court of Appeals and they win. And I'm like, cool, now do Adnan appeals. Cool. Can we do Adnan now? Great.
Yeah, and it's like, Feiger makes this point where he's like, you know, those fucking jurors were garbage.
Not one person can name any of those jurists who took it away. And the minute they died, nobody remembered that they ever lived on the face of the earth. And people still remember Scott Amadure. And I think that I would rather have that than all the money in the world.
I will say that at least for me, it's true. Like, maybe it's because I'm a gay person, but I remember this very clearly, this murder. And there is something to be said for that. Like, I'm sure put an end to this kind of shit. And then we see Jenny Jones. And, they say Jenny Jones was never apologetic about this. She gives this interview where she says,
the one thing that I sort of come away with after all this is I really am just very cynical about the press.
Jenny, you are the press. You are the press.
Yeah, and the Jenny Jones show, this happened in 1995. Her show was on the air until 2003. So what lessons did anybody learn?
I know.
Honestly, like what came from this? The family didn't get any settlement. Warner Brothers, the big corporation, wins. Jenny Jones never apologizes, doubles down. Someone is dead. It's like, we're seeing footage. It's like Jenny Jones was on the air until 2003 and we get this footage of like the Kissing Cousins episode. Like what? Like no good came out of this at all. Like no good came out of it. Nobody won. Really.
Where is Jenny Jones today? Like, what is her life like?
I'm not going to Google Jenny. I'm not going to give her that. I'm not going to give her my time.
Yeah, and like the brother of Fred is saying, like,
I just wish that he'd be understood for who he is and not some gay person that confessed his crush to somebody on TV as if he was a criminal or something.
And there's this moment that stood out to me where the filmmakers are like, what do you think he'd be doing today? And he's like,
he might be working with you guys. He would have loved this kind of stuff. This is his thing. Yeah, he'd have loved this stuff.
It just made me think about like Scott, the victim here for a second, because he was really strong. He was really self-aware. He went on TV and talked about gay shit in a time when you just didn't do that. He wasn't ashamed. He wasn't afraid. And he seemed like a really badass guy. Like, I'm sad that I never got to know him.
Yeah. And, Jonathan made those choices. He made the choice to buy the gun and he made the choice to commit murder. I will never get over that we're not talking about the dad more. Like, I'm never going to get over the fact that Jonathan is, made his decisions, but is a product of this homophobic, bully, abusive person who straight up admitted, I told my son to kill this guy.
I know.
Why aren't we having a bigger conversation about this? I will never, ever get over it. Fuck him.
And we see the guy, Johnathan Schmitz, gets out of jail in 2017 after 22 years. Girl, I heard nothing about this when it happened. I can't believe I didn't see a word about it.
Well, 2017, that was right after 2016, so everyone was kind of distracted.
Yeah, I guess that's true. It's a good time to be released from prison if you're like an unapologetic murderer, I guess.
Right, when there was another fake tan that everyone was crying over and upset about.
Oh my God, you guys, we did episode 1 of Trial by Media. Look, episode 2 is available right now and ad-free on the Patreon. It's about the subway vigilante in New York City. I can guarantee you're going to get a lot of Jillian's Queen's accent in this one.
Sure, always, of course.
And it was directed by Skye Borgman, our friend, the director of Abducted in Plain Sight. Look, she's got a million things going on right now, but this just happens to be the first thing that has come out since Abducted in Plain Sight. She is she's a genius. She's a master. This episode is incredible. So go. It's available right now and ad-free at the $5 level on Patreon. It'll be there for a week, and then we'll move it to the regular ad-free tier. But go check it out, you guys.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to say, again, on the Patreon, that's where you get our series. If you want more laughs, there's over like 140 full bonus episodes to download a binge right this second.
Yeah, everything from McMillions to the Jinx to everything that you've wanted us to cover. Have they ever done this series?
We did it.
I mean, try it. We probably did it. And if we didn't, I promise you it's on our list. We have an ever-growing list. We'll get to all of them.
Girl, tell the people about the merch.
We totally revamped our merch. We have more of it. Let the women do the work. Give it a goog. Masks now.
Yeah.
And every last cent is going to charity. How about that?
We're super excited about that. So these episodes don't have individual trailers, but we found something that we can sort of use as a trailer. And I want you guys to hear it because this episode is so great and you need to go listen to this episode right now. So stay tuned for our like hilarious outtakes. Oh, and we love you.
We love you. Don't watch trashy TV. Right. I mean, you can, but like don't.
Right.
Don't be a Jenny Jones. You know, just don't be a Jenny Jones. That's more. Watch the trashy TV. If you need to fix your housewives, that's okay. You can do it. Just don't be a Jenny Jones, you know?
All right, bye.
Bye.
And we begin with a story that says something about our times. The story of the subway vigilante.
To many New Yorkers, this man has become a folk hero.
It was the most notorious subway riot in history.
4 teenagers caught a train from the Bronx. They traveled to Manhattan looking for some big city excitement. And boy, did they find it.
an event that became an instant metaphor in the American national dialogue about street crime and the limits of self-defense.
The media was doing its job. It was fear, fright, hysteria, and hype.
The case has touched a nerve that has brought it into the national and international spotlight.
We were able, for the first time, to get the issue of race front and center in the city in a mass media setting.
The whole bloody world exploded on the newspapers and TV. It was incredible.
When they walked into that car and they started messing with him, they didn't realize that the time bomb was already ticking. Tick, 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 tick.
That was a lot of words that were hard to say in a row. Hard-hitting questions to Tanya Harding Connie. Hard-hitting questions to Tanya Harding Connie.
There you go. You did it.
I want a hat. You got so mad at her when she did that.
Don't sit here. She spent 8 hours with Netflix too, Body Movement. Don't come for me. I didn't want to do it. I did it for the listeners. I didn't want to sit and watch that shit. I did it for everyone listening. So, Body Movement, don't you dare come for me, girl.
Oh my God.
Doesn't take much for me to get ramped up about that. Finger out of my face. Body moving. Enough. I don't like it. Okay, the gays can have it. You guys can have it. I'm not going to take it away from you.
What do you want, the rainbow pride flag too, Jillian? Great, fine.
I have a rainbow pride flag in my home. Is that allowed? Is that okay? Sorry, I sat on a remote. My TV just turned on. What is happening? All of a sudden, like, Netflix is on? Like, what is going on here, girl?
So...
Wait, girl, hold on. There's audio coming.